Hello again, everyone. How's everyone? Hope you're all well. Things slowly starting to get back to normal now. Well, some new kind of normal, wherever that is. But I'm going to continue making some videos. Got the next week or so off, so I may do a few different ones. And today, just wanted to talk about a system that I think gets forgotten about, gets overlooked. It's from that second gen of systems. A lot of people are familiar with the Atari 2600. Came out in 1977, and also you've got the Intellivision and ColecoVision, and they're like the main three that you think of in that gen. But there was another system which came out in America and I don't think did too well, but it did a little bit better over here. And it gets forgotten about, it really does. And that's this one. This is the Philips GX7000 Video Pack computer. Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? It's called that in the UK. In America, this is known as the Odyssey 2. So if you remember, the Odyssey was sort of like that first TV, sort of like, it had cartridges, but they weren't ROM cartridges. But it sort of, I think the Fairchild Channel F was the first one to have actually ROM carts that went in. But everyone thinks of the Odyssey 1. So yeah, this is the Odyssey 2. I personally knew nothing about it until probably a couple of years ago. And a friend of mine told me that he's gone into a charity shop and they had this really odd looking computer in there. Sent me a few screenshots. And I said, well, can you tell him to hold it for me? I'll get down there. Got down there, picked it up, and yeah, it just happened to be this computer. Sadly, the one that I got didn't work. It had, there's a couple of different models. Some have like an internal power supply inside, and the joystick port sort of hardwired in. As you can see on this one, these aren't hardwired in, these are detachable. This is like a later model. But it did come with a big stack of games, and I think I ended up picking up like a tenner. The joystick looked a bit knackered as well and all that, but it was nice to pick up. It was a system I've never owned before. Then it got me looking for another one, which then I've got this one. It is boxed. I'm not going to bring the box in here. You can see the size of my room. It's massive, this box is. So as the system itself, as you can see, if you compare it to the Atari 2600, which isn't small, but as you can see, it just sits perfectly on there. This thing is an absolute beast of a system. It really is. Another thing you may notice as well is on the front there is a keyboard, and this is sort of like your what do you call it, membrane keyboard. It's just a sheet. There's no buttons, like no clicky buttons or nothing. Think of it more like the ZX81. Although, believe it or not, with even less travel or less feel. It just feels like you're tapping on plastic. But that's there because they tried to stand apart from all the rest. This did actually come with a cartridge that you can put in, so you can program it. It had BASIC on it. So I do know that the Atari also had a BASIC cart as well, but I think you had to get like a separate number pad or something with that one. So yeah, as you can see, it's absolutely massive. It's really, it's hollow. It's heavy, but it's definitely hollow. And discovering this, I've found there's quite a lot of games that are quite unique to this system that haven't been ported onto anything else. And I think that's what's nice about the video pack, is discovering new games. There is a multi-cart that's just come out for this. I'm not sure how many in one it is. Sold in quite low numbers, but I'm going to try my best to get hold of one of them. Because although I have the box games, and the box games are really nice because the artwork on them is nice, you can't collect, or you can't find all the games. So to actually experience some of the games on a multi-cart is actually quite a nice thing. So yeah, as I said, that's the system. All it's got in the back is the power input, 2 joystick ports, and its AV hardwired in, which the hardwired in is quite common for the era, really. So let's get on to a few other things. The joysticks, as I've just mentioned then, some of them come hardwired in, but this is the one that doesn't. You can detach it. It's your standard sort of like 9-pin thing, but the joystick itself, look at the size of that. It's absolutely massive. Everything about the system is not, it's just huge. It really is. Although you can see the joystick there. The joystick is supposed to have like a little plastic bit on the end where you can move it around. But I've come across quite a few of the pads, whether they're hardwired in or loose like this, and all of them have that missing. You can still play it without, you just can't play it for a long period of time. It starts just rubbing your fingers. Another bit that's always tends to go missing is the button on there, the fire button. I've come across quite a few. It's just, I think it's just the build quality of it. Again, as you can see, it's quite cheaply made. It works for the games that you've got. It works really well. But as I said, the size in my hand now, and I'm an adult. Well, some people say I'm an adult. Anyway, but if you're a child holding this, you know what I mean. That's absolutely massive. So, but it works. It works really well. It is quite stiff. Well, not even stiff. It's sort of like resistant. When you move left or right, it wants to ping straight back to the centre. And there are a couple of games, I'll show you one in a minute, that actually take advantage of the springy nature of that joystick. If you're going for this model, which I'm not sure exactly which model this one is, I know it was the later one, this has the external power supply. Make sure you've got it with it, the same as the Philips CDI that I had before. They have these weird little proprietary power supplies which only works on this. So, and it's absolutely tiny, look at it, you know, but it's a weird shape. So if you're going to get one of these, make sure you get the power supply, and in my experience, make sure you get one that's working. The problem that I had with my first one is I could turn it on and I could put a game in, I could see the game coming from the screen, but it flashed on, off, on, off, on, off, as the power supply was clicking on and clicking off. So, that's a common fault. Well, I can't say common fault, it's a fault I've seen. So yeah, what is a system without its games? So let's go through a couple of the when I say Atari sitting down there, the Videopats games. And the first one, a lot of these games were numbered. I think all of them numbered, to be honest, but the later one sort of took the number off the cover, but it's on the cartridge. So let's start with game number 1. And as you can see on there, it's actually got 3 different games on it. And it's got Race, Spin Out, and Cryptogram. And Cryptogram is one that takes advantage of the keyboard. It's sort of like, it's got 2 lines. You type in the word at the top, one person, while everybody else looks away from the screen, and press enter, and it will scramble it and come up with like a random word made from yours. And then people have got to pass around the keyboard and try and guess which word is on there, which I think is quite a nice. It's still fun to play today. You can put swear words in there as well, so it doesn't censor you. Put whatever you want, which we've done in the past. It's quite fun. Put this down. Stay. And the other games are Race, which is sort of like your vertical going up the screen. You're the car. There's like a couple of different speeds. You can go different modes, difficulties, and you've got to dodge the cars coming towards you. Quite a fun game, very simple game, but it's actually quite a nice one. And the second one is Spin Out, and that's a 2-player game, which is sort of like a, don't know if you can see on there, it's like a circuit race where you go round and you've got to chase each other, or you know, just a standard race really. Done very well. It is. It's done quite well. This. I love. If you see on there, the artwork on the actual box itself is really quite nice as well. Right. While I'm talking about this, before I forget, the cartridges themselves, quite unique. You can't mistake these for, say, like a Intellivision cart or an Atari cart. I mean, this is a slightly different one, but you know what I mean. These are these cartridges. Look at that game cart with a handle, and not just a handle, it's a proper handle. That is you put it in the system, you can get a whole hand in it and pull the whole cartridge out. Really sturdy little things. I love the design of them. The covers you got on here, the Americas put us to shame with them because they had some nice black and gold artwork with Odyssey 2, sorry, written on them. So these are just your instructions. If you didn't have the manual, you can read what games they are on there. It shows you what to press on the keyboard to start them up. And your actual manuals as well come in here. That's me trying to get this out of here without damaging it. It's like the front cover, and then you just open it up, and there is your instructions and everything else of how to play the different games. I'm going to put this over here. I'm not going to put it back in camera. It's a fiddly little thing to do. So just got to remember, put that back. Right, going on to some other games then. Some games that I've discovered and really like. There are quite a few games which are sort of like the Videopack's answer to some Atari games, like Combat and things like that, which I've got in this pile as well. But these two are take inspiration from Pac-Man, but are their own games, if you know what I mean. There's little tweaks and little things that they do which is slightly different. And the first one is Munchkin, which I think is quite odd because Munchkin was on the Videopack, and I've seen a couple of years ago has finally been ported onto the Atari as like a homebrew game. This one is, as I said, it's like Pac-Man. You go around, but there's less pills on the screen, and the pills move around. So you got to avoid the enemies and chase after the pills. It's quite a fun game. Let's say classic arcade games. You go for your high score. Thing with these games, and with all of the Atari, the Videopack games, one life. You know, one life, you start again. That's it. There's no... It's all high scores. So that's Munchkin. This one, again, is another Pac-Man style game, but I really like this one because they mixed it up enough to make it really its own game. And this one is Crazy Chase. You can see on there. You, again, are this little creature's running around. You're not collecting pills. There's mushrooms on the screen, and you can get them for points, but they'll grow back. There's two other monsters on the screen as well, which are running around in random patterns you've got to avoid. And then there's like a snake, and it's got like a head and like 5 or 6 different balls that come off looking like the body. You've got to get round to the back of that and eat one of them balls off the back, which then makes you invincible, so then you can go off and eat the other 2 guys to get a higher score. And then you keep going until eventually you kill the snake completely and you move on to the next level. The mushroom things are good for points, but they can also hinder you as well. If you're being chased and you come across a mushroom, it takes 2 or 3 frames of animation to eat the mushroom to then carry on, so that gives the other guy a chance to catch up with you. Very fun game, this one. If you've never seen this one before, I know that the games on this emulate really quite well. So if you get a chance, either pick up a system or emulate it. Crazy Chase is definitely one I'd recommend. And going back to the whole ones I definitely would recommend, and these are quite late games, you see what I mean in a minute about the numbers sort of stop and they put more emphasis on the artwork. And this one is Terrorhawks. I need to get closer with this one because that is some really nice artwork. It really is. This one is sort of like Space Invaders, apart from the enemies start off in the middle and come out in a line, and they go round and they follow a pattern, and they keep shooting down at you, and you're at the bottom, you can just shoot up. But the first level, they're just shooting bullets straight down, and obviously you've got to kill them all off and everything else. The second level, they send down homing missiles, so then they chase you across the screen. And then the third level, if a bullet hits the bottom, it goes like left and right across the screen and chases you that way, so you get stuck. So if like one fires here and they start moving towards you, you're dead. And then obviously you get past them, going for the high score, they start doing like multiple weapons and get faster and all the rest of it. It's very fun, very addictive. When you die, this little face comes up and just laughs at you as well, which I think is quite a nice touch. So yeah, definitely want to recommend. I'm just going to break it now. I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. These things are built like tanks, so I'm sure it'll still work fine. Anyway, what I was going to say before I decided to start breaking my own stuff is, as you can see, that's game cart number 51. yet they didn't put the number on the case. Let's put it back carefully. Break it any more than I already have. I bet people are cringing at the screen then when I drop that. I know I was. Yeah, another one is, what's this one? The Mousing Cat. Odd title, but the reason why I picked this one out is it's number 47. It's like generic cat and mouse game. You've got to run around and trap the mouse and use like there's like lines that you put around them and you've got to get them into a square. But that's not the reason why I wanted to bring this one up. Unlike Tom and Jerry, when he catches a mouse and it's all nice and everything else, it goes to a cutscene where you see the cat actually eating the mouse. You watch the mouse get eaten by the cat with blood and everything. Yeah, can you imagine the child put that on the first time? So, oh, just catch them. No, it actually eats it, kills it, moves on to the next mouse. Yeah, when I first saw it, I was actually genuinely shocked that they put that in there. Next one, what we got? Space Monster. Now this is definitely more like just your generic Space Invaders, but I wanted again to put this one in because of the artwork. It looks really, really nice, this one. A little bit different on this one. When you do get killed, you can, the bases that protect you, you can run across to another base because you don't die instantly. Your ship gets blown up. You can run across to another one of these bases, jump into it, and that turns into another ship. So that's where the strategic comes in, where do I use this as shelter or do I use this as another ship? Yeah, I said Space Invaders with a little bit of a twist and some very, very nice artwork on this one. I do like that. Going on to a couple of games. Is it a couple? No, just one. One that's like the answer to Combat on the 2600. And that is Laser War. Again, nice artwork. It's a common theme with these, to be honest. It's really nice artwork on them. But this is basically like combat in space. Again, with a little twist. They always used to do it a little bit extra, I find, on these games. I think they programmed them. They weren't churning out so many games. With the Atari, there were so many games coming out as fast as possible. Eventually is what led to the video game crash, or part of reason why. Just flooded the market with the rubbish. But this one is, the attention to detail is, you've got the two ships and then there's like an asteroid field going around you in one of the games. And then you've got to sort of navigate round as it's spinning. But then when you do shoot the other guy, the game isn't over straight away. They don't just respawn. Then a computer spaceship comes in and starts shooting at you. But then you can shoot that to get extra points. And as soon as you've killed it, another one comes from a different way. It mixes it up a little bit. Yeah, and there's a couple of different versions of it. They're all pretty much the same, but they change like the field that you play on or the way the asteroids move and stuff like that. Fun two-player game. Another fun two-player game which takes advantage of, where did I put that? Oh, it's down there. That takes advantage of the springiness, as I mentioned before, of the joystick, is this one, and it's a Stone Sling. Basically like two-player catapults. And what you do in this game is you've got to hold your fire button. It doesn't give you like a power meter on the bottom. You sort of got to guess, you know, fire a couple and you get a feel for how far it's going. But then you pull back on the joystick and let go and it pings the projectiles across. It's a little bit of humour in there as well. If you hit the other guy's catapult, you watch him drag it all out the screen and then watch him drag it back in and set it up and start again. There's little touches like that. It's a good two-player game, that one. Right, now I'm going to get on to my favourite game. This is, without a doubt, even if I played all the other games on this system, this I think would still be my favourite game. And it's Killer Bees. Killer Bees is an absolute, it's like a killer app for this system, it really is. I'm going to check the number of the cart on this one without dropping it out anywhere. It's number 52. So quite late into the life. What was the date on this one? 83. So this came out in 83. The game's as old as I am. But it's a really good arcade style game. You play as the swarm of bees. You don't play as like people running away from them or stuff like that. You're a swarm, lots of little dots. And they're going around, and then all of a sudden some people come down and they start running around in different patterns. And you've got to kill them. But when you kill them, they don't die straight away. You've got to hover over them for a bit as you're stinging them, and then they eventually die. And as you do this, they're gradually slowing down. So you can have some people running around really fast that you haven't stung, and some that you have that are like pretty much walking pace. When you kill them, a gravestone pops up, which then becomes a hazard for other people, so they hit it and run back in another direction, so it changes their pattern. And at the same time, there are little doors all the way around the screen, which another swarm of bees will appear in. And you can get quite a few of them coming onto the screen at once. They're not after the people, they're after you. They want to kill your swarm. If they get you, they don't kill you straight away. They sort of like, you can touch them and go, move away quickly, and you can end up with just like 2 or 3 bees left. I've played levels before where I've got down to 1 person left, a swarm, and me as 1 single bee trying to avoid them and kill that person. Good thing of that is if you do kill them, you get back to the next level and you start with your full swarm again. You're not down to 1 all the way through. And added bonus as well, when you kill a person, you'll get 2 dots that appear either side of the screen, which you can move up and down with your joystick. And this will shoot a laser beam across the screen, which then you can use to wipe out the other swarms. So you want to sort of like, for multiples, bunch a couple of them together if possible and kill 3 swarms off at once. Also it makes it easier for you to move around. If you leave them long enough, the swarms eventually will get like change colour and get really nasty and properly go for you. They don't just do random patterns, they aim straight for you. Very, very fun, addictive, high score game. Why it was never ported on anything else, I really don't know. Why it wasn't an arcade game, again, don't know. But this is an absolute hidden gem of a game. If you can emulate this, if you can get one of these systems, I highly, highly recommend you give this game a go. My mate John, we started talking about this system, and both of us at the same time went, oh, and Killer Bees, you know what I mean? Because we've both played this system before, and we both know this is a good game. It really is. And some nice artwork on the front. So, that's 20 minutes of me waffling about the G7000, dropping a game on the floor and hopefully not killing it. So yeah, I think I've talked long enough. So, have you got one of these? Did you have one back in the day? Have you ever played in one? Would you like to play in one now? These aren't really expensive to pick up if you can find them. They're a very affordable system. You've just got to have the room for it. You know what I mean? It's absolutely massive. Just quickly, there was a couple of other models as well. There was the next one up which was like this, but had a CRT built into it as well. It's either the G7200 or 7400, I think. Might be the 7400. So as big as this is, imagine this with a CRT sticking out the front of it as well, and a bit longer. So yeah, they wanted their presence known. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Have you played it? Have you enjoyed it? Have you even seen any of these games before? So yeah, enough of me waffling. I've said that already. And I hope everyone is staying safe, starting to go back to work. Just, you know, keep going. This will hopefully be soon. It really will. And then hopefully we can all meet up at some game conventions, or just the local pub. I'm looking forward to game nights with my friends, but it'll come. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and look after yourself.